Ladies and gentlemen, you say you miss them. You say your heart aches because they're gone. But tell me honestly, what is it that you truly miss? Do you miss them, their soul, their silence, their inner chaos, their truth? Or do you miss the feeling of being wanted, the thrill of being noticed, the comfort of being needed? There's a difference between loving a person and loving the way they made you feel. Sometimes we confuse our hunger for attention with the depth of love. We don't fall in love with the human being in front of us. We fall in love with the mirror they hold up, a mirror that reflects our worth, our desirability, our power. You didn't love their soul. You loved the texts that came late at night, the likes on your photos, the good morning. Messages that reminded you weren't invisible. You loved that they made you feel chosen. You loved that someone finally saw you. But the truth is, you never really saw them. You didn't stay for their broken parts. You didn't ask about their childhood pain, their dreams, their scars, or their doubts. You were captivated by their attention, not their essence, and when they stopped giving you that attention you said they'd changed. You said you don't know who they are anymore. But maybe you never knew them to begin with. Maybe what broke you wasn't their departure. It was the silence where validation used to live. It's hard to admit, but sometimes we're not heartbroken because we lost someone special. We're heartbroken because we lost the version of ourselves we were when they made us feel wanted, because they filled a hole that we never knew how to fill on our own. So don't romanticize it. Don't call it soulmates when it was just serotonin. Don't call it love when it was loneliness dressed up in attention. Be honest with yourself, not just with the story you tell your friends. You didn't love their soul, you loved their spotlight on your emptiness. And now that it's gone, ask yourself, are you grieving them or the version of you that only existed under their gaze? We live in a world where attention feels like currency. A text reply, a compliment, a double tap on a photo. It all seems to carry weight. When someone gives us consistent attention, it can feel intoxicating. We start to associate their presence with our worth, their focus with our value, and slowly we mistake this temporary emotional high for something deeper. We start calling it love when in reality it's an addiction to being noticed. Craving attention is a natural human trait, but it becomes dangerous when we confuse it with love. The moment someone showers us with affection, gives us their time, and makes us feel special, we instantly attach meaning to it. But love isn't about how someone makes us feel, it's about who they are when no one's watching, and whether we still choose them in their rawest form. Loving someone's soul means understanding their pain, sitting with their silence, accepting their flaws, and not just celebrating their highlights. But craving attention skips all that. It lives on surface level satisfaction. It thrives in the beginning when everything feels fresh and exciting. It doesn't ask questions. It doesn't want to know the past. It just wants to feel good. That's why so many people fall apart when the attention fades. Because they were never connected to the person, only the feeling. And when that feeling disappears, so does the illusion of love. We end up chasing a memory, not a human being. We look back on a relationship and miss the dopamine rush, the thrill, the sense of being wanted, not the individual themselves. Craving attention makes us overlook red flags, settle for less, and cling to people who never aligned with our values in the first place. It makes us believe we were in love, when really we were just addicted to the way they made us feel temporarily. When someone gives us attention, we often create an illusion around who they are. We build stories in our mind based on how they make us feel, not on who they truly are. It's easy to mistake emotional comfort for emotional connection. The smiles, the compliments, the late night conversations, they all feel intimate, but they don't necessarily reflect the person's character, depth, or values. We get attached to how we feel around them, not to the truth of who they are beneath the surface. Many people fall in love with the version of themselves that exists in someone's gaze. They feel more alive, more attractive, more interesting when someone is watching, listening, or responding. But that has very little to do with the other person and everything to do with our need to be seen. Falling for the feeling someone gives you isn't love, it's self-focus. It's about your need for security, your hunger for emotional warmth, your desire to feel special. The person becomes a tool for validation, not a human being with layers, stories, and imperfections. That's why the illusion breaks so easily when they stop giving you the same attention or when their true personality begins to surface. The disappointment hits hard. Not because they changed, but because the fantasy you created can no longer survive. You realize you never took the time to know them deeply. You don't understand their wounds, their history, their boundaries, or their truth. You only knew how they made you feel, and that's not love, that's emotional projection. When we fall for how someone makes us feel, we're not connecting with them. We're reconnecting with a part of ourselves that's been longing to be recognized. It's not about the soul, it's about the sensation. It's a temporary high that disguises itself as emotional intimacy. Validation has a powerful effect on the human mind. When someone sees us, compliments us, or gives us consistent attention, it fills a void many of us didn't even realize was there. That feeling of being chosen, of being important to someone, can be deeply addictive. It feels like love because it soothes the ache of invisibility, of rejection, of unworthiness, but validation is not the same as connection. It's not the same as love. It's a reaction to a need, not a reflection of depth. When we're emotionally empty or uncertain of our worth, even the smallest act of attention can feel like a lifeline. It becomes the thing we crave, chase, and cling to. That's why relationships built on validation are so fragile. They rely on a constant stream of reassurance. The moment that reassurance fades, so does the illusion of connection. We don't know who we are without their eyes on us. We don't know how to feel enough without their words affirming it, and in that dependency we lose sight of reality. We stop asking whether the person truly understands us, respects us, or shares our values. All that matters is how they make us feel in the moment. We equate the emotional highs with love, the attention with loyalty, the compliments with commitment, but none of those things guarantee genuine care. Validation can be temporary, performative, even manipulative. It can come from people who don't intend to stay. It can come from people who don't really know us. Yet we hold onto it because it feels good, because it fills the silence inside. When we mistake validation for love, we end up chasing feelings, not people. We end up loving the attention, not the soul. We keep repeating cycles of temporary connections that leave us feeling more hollow than before when someone walks away or stops giving you the attention you've grown used to. The pain can feel unbearable, but often what hurts the most isn't the person's absence, it's the silence that replaces their constant validation. You miss the messages, the check-ins, the way they made you feel seen in a world that often looks right past you. That sudden quiet leaves a void that echoes with questions about your worth, your desirability, your value. The loss of attention feels like a personal rejection, even if the connection was never rooted in something deep or lasting. This kind of heartbreak can feel more intense than losing someone you truly knew, because it's not just about them. It's about losing the sense of identity you built around their attention. You became someone when they looked at you, smiled at you, noticed you. And when that disappeared, it felt like a part of you disappeared too. This is why emotional detachment from attention-based relationships can be so difficult. The relationship might not have had depth, but the feelings were real because they were tied to your need for recognition. It's not love that keeps people attached after the attention fades. It's the grief of not being seen anymore. That desperate search for closure often has less to do with understanding the other person and more to do with trying to understand why you don't feel like enough without them. The absence of their attention becomes a mirror reflecting all the insecurities you tried to silence, and you begin to question if you ever mattered to them, or if you only mattered when you were being useful, attractive, or emotionally convenient. The love you thought you lost may not have been love at all. It may have been the comfort of feeling wanted in a world where so many people feel invisible. To love someone's soul is to go beyond what they show the world. It means accepting their truth even when it's messy, even when it doesn't make you feel good. It's not about the version they post online or the one they wear in public. It's about the person they are in their quietest moments. Truly loving someone means understanding their fears, their history, their boundaries, their pain. It means choosing them on the days they're not glowing, on the days they don't have anything to give. Most people don't fall in love with that version. They fall for the highlights, the moments of charm, the temporary emotional highs. But when that shine fades, when flaws begin to surface, when communication gets hard, many pull away. That's because the connection was never built on a soul-level bond. It was built on attraction, on attention, on how the other person made them feel. Soul love requires patience. It demands that you look past your own needs long enough to truly see the other person. It requires that you hold space for their healing without needing them to perform happiness for you. When you love someone's soul, you don't walk away when they're difficult. You don't abandon them when they're not convenient. You stay curious about who they are and what shaped them. You respect their layers. You honor their pace. This kind of love doesn't always feel euphoric or exciting, but it's the kind that stays, that grows, that strengthens over time. It's not driven by ego or external validation. It's rooted in depth, in compassion, in the willingness to be present through all seasons. It's rare because it's real, and real love asks for more than just chemistry or attraction. It asks for understanding, humility, and emotional maturity.